Hi, friends. Welcome to Pieces Here, the daily series exploring the architects of enough. We continue our theme, Creative Vision and Mindful Craft, honoring Anni Albers. She wove silence into her art, but that silence carried questions about material, craft, necessity, and the lines between function and meaning. Architect of Enough. Anni Albers was born in Berlin in 1899. Though she initially began as a painter, she joined the weaving workshop at the revolutionary Bauhaus School in 1922, where she found her voice in textiles. At the time, weaving was considered lower prestige than painting, but Albers saw the loom's vast potential for complex structural design. In 1933, she emigrated to the U.S. and with her husband, the artist Joseph Albers, taught at Black Mountain College in North Carolina. Her textiles are known for their clarity of structure, material honesty, and restrained color. She believed that weaving should respect the inherent properties of thread, warp, and weft, rather than mask them with excessive embellishment. She was an architect of enough because her work was a constant argument for simplicity as depth. In her lifetime, she published On Weaving, 1965, a rich introspective reflection on craft, material, and context that remains a foundational text today. Her legacy lives in the conviction that materials, form, and silence can speak more sharply than adornment. The Enough Reflection. Let the material guide your restraint. Albers said that design is a method of action, meaning that the work should emerge from the logic of the medium, not from decorative ambition. Her textiles often limit palette or pattern, not from fear, but from fidelity. In our lives, that translates to noticing what is essential, not cutting joy, but refusing the habit of excess. Before filling your space or schedule, ask, what does the material demand? Not, what do I crave? This reminds me of one of the tips from Peace Stuff Enough, the new companion book to One More Year. You can find it and follow the Kickstarter at aviskalfsbeck.com/Kickstarter. Pedro says, Anni Albert's dedication to simplicity and the integrity of her materials led her to teach students to design using only the most basic tools, including a backstrap loom, which is merely a few wooden pieces and a strap, forcing the weaver to use their own body tension to create the entire fabric. What material in my life, objects, roles, habits, do I push to conform when they might teach me if I listened instead? Where might I live more by the logic of what I already have rather than by accumulation? Words to keep. Anni Albers taught that the true creative act requires us to set aside ego and listen for guidance from the world itself. She reminds us that the material knows best. She said, being creative is not so much the desire to do something as the listening to that which wants to be done, the dictation of the materials. If this daily message has brought you peace, please take a moment to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. That was the life and wisdom of our architect of enough for this episode. If their story has inspired you to seek your own path to less consumption and more contentment, then please step off the treadmill with me. Let's learn from the architects of enough and discover together that for our planet, for our community, and for ourselves, peace is here. To follow my work, including the new book, Peace Stuff Enough, the entire Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, and the podcast archive, visit aviskalfsbeck.com. That's also where you can find the link to my current Kickstarter. Our music is Dalai Lama Riding a Bike by the talented Javier Peque Rodriguez. You can find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. Thank you again. Listen for the peace.